I've never been especially interested in fashion, and these days if I'm wearing a suit the chances are someone has been born, got married or died. But back in the early 1990s I decided that I was comfortable in a t-shirt and either jeans or cargo trousers, and that's done me ever since. But I find it slightly disturbing that men's fashion and grooming seems to be feminising men, because it's not uncommon for some younger men, before they go out for a night on the town, to use hair straighteners and apply makeup, and these guys are apparently straight. Although I'd guess that every now and again these young fellows' girlfriends will strap one on and then it's their turn to be the woman. Part of the reason that fashion completely passed me by was due to my childhood. I grew up in the east of England in a little village, proper picture postcard stuff. But people tend to romanticise the countryside because when you live there, you're forever getting mud up you, and for half the year the place smells of pig shit. So it made sense to dress for practicality rather than for the sake of designer labels. Because if you slipped over walking across a wet field and got grass stains in your jeans, they're a nightmare to get out, so there's no point having expensive clothes. However, it paid not to make a habit of falling over, because if people saw you regularly with grass-stained knees and mud on your hands, they would wonder why you were spending so much time on all fours. If that person was a woman, the locals would assume she was a slag, and if it was a bloke, well, I'm all in favour of gay rights, as anyone who's seen this channel before will know. But this was rural Norfolk 30 years ago, and as much as we knew that there were gay people, none of us had actually seen one, in the same way that if you watch a lot of pornography, you could be forgiven for assuming that Asian men don't exist. But it transpires that myself and the rest of the country bumpkins walking around in our Wellington boots and chewing straw were well ahead of the curve, because Gucci are now selling jeans with fake grass stains for £600. That's just short of $800 US. So who are these jeans aimed at? Well, clearly people with more money than sense. Because why would you spend hundreds of dollars on artificial grass stains when you can get the real ones for free? And where would one wear such an item of clothing? Because if a chap arrived at a nightclub in what are apparently heavily soiled pantaloons, and if the bouncer hadn't told him to fuck off, he'd have to spend the entire evening explaining he'd spent a small fortune in order to appear like a landscape gardener. And if the same chap arrived at a country pub hoping that he would blend in, at best the locals would piss themselves laughing at him, and at worst they would pelt him with rocks before burning him inside a wicker man. But worse things have gone on this week in the world of fashion. A ladies' cosmetics company called Woke Up Like This has faced a furious backlash over one of its new products. It's part of a range of cosmetics which are meant to commemorate inspirational women of the 20th century. Among the range is a blusher called Dream Like Anne. And I don't know if that implies you will have a dream similar to those of Anne herself, or if Anne is herself dreamlike. But the female the blusher is named after is Anne Frank. The Diary of Anne Frank is undoubtedly one of the most important books of the 20th century. But this also means, at some point during the product's development, in a meeting, the head of marketing stood up and said, "What our customers want is when they're putting on their makeup is a subtle reminder of the Holocaust." So personally, I think the anger directed towards this company is entirely justified, because they've tried to cash in on the worst thing that's ever happened. What's next? A perfume infused with the fragrances of a Soviet gulag? Or a range of lipsticks commemorating the genocide in Rwanda? And this is why I don't get fashion, because the people involved in it are fucking mental. So that's why I'm a jeans and t-shirt type of bloke. I'm not overly bothered about how I dress, because I'm not expecting to be the centre of attention every time I go into a room. I want my clothes to keep me comfortable and to prevent people from seeing my gentleman vegetables. That'll do. Thanks for watching.